All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. This is for episode 12 now. It's called Weak. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you'll want to watch it before you watch this review. So, an okay episode for this week. This brings us to the last quarter of the season, as we have 4 episodes left for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. And just looking at the episode guide here, it looks like the last 2 episodes, episode 15 is called I Lose People, and then episode 16 is called ... I Lose Myself. So I like that. So that's pretty good. So the back quarter now, 4 episodes left for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. We're most of the way through. We just got what looks to be maybe a minor villain coming in right now, maybe, and then we'll see if they set up some kind of major villain or some kind of major concentration by the end of this season. So this episode Week was directed by Colman Domingo, who plays Strand in Fear the Walking Dead, and I thought it was pretty well directed. I thought it was pretty fun, and its pacing was pretty good. It did include quite a bit of stuff. You had 3 different groups in this. Well, maybe you could say 4 if you want to count. Was it Quinn is one of them? I think so. So he was the one kind of standard guy who I knew right away. Like, as soon as we saw him kind of come in the episode, I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to be dead by the end of the episode. Like, there's no way he's going to be like, because he doesn't have any kind of a gimmick or anything. He's just like standard white male. He's going to be dead. He's not lasting. It's like filler character 1. At least they gave him a name. That was good because I wasn't even sure if they were going to do that. And I did somewhat like the end of the episode here with kind of the nice little twist at the end where you have kind of the mile markers and then you have the tape on the one. And you can see it happening as it's happening because you're sitting there screaming to yourself, it's a trap, right? It's a trap. And of course the villain lady whose name, Purvis, she keeps saying that she calls her... I don't know. Some people have brought up they think she's a necrophiliac or something. I don't know. She's got kind of the weird complexion, her skin. She almost looks like a zombie herself. Like she looks like half like a walker herself, and she kind of brings up her zombie and sicks it on him, right? So she's got the walker type thing, and she's walking it up and then get him, right? So. Yeah, man. So I don't know how I feel about her as a villain. And, I thought the rest of the episode was really good. And you do need probably some kind of villain concentration. But she strikes me as like a filler villain. Like, she strikes me as somebody who's more of a villain that seems to be more kind of mischievous than a real threat. Like, she's by herself. It's just her so far as we know. And she's crafty. So she's, she's making makeshift signs and tricking the guy to get him into the right spot. And she's got the SWAT vehicle now as well, too. So she is... So, she's kind of one of those type of villains that's like she's somewhat of a threat, but she's by herself and, they have the numbers and everything. And, it's certainly not the type of threat that you're maybe used to with like the original Walking Dead, where you see like a lot of these major villains come in like Negan and the Saviors, and there's like 100, over 100 Saviors. Or you have like Terminus, where you have like this whole kind of compound that's set up to trap people. And she's got the tricky part, but it seems like she's just like, alone. So how much of a threat is she really going to be able to be? So maybe we'll see by the end of this season, but I don't expect for her to be a major villain that would last on through the season. Maybe somewhat similar to Joe and the Claimers from season 4 of the original Walking Dead, but maybe not quite as as strong as them or as substantial as them, or just that she's crafty, right? Because she's somebody who Morgan walks right by her, and he just looks at her as like this maybe lady that's just barely hanging on to life, and she does kind of tell him that she's not weak and she's creepy as hell, but she doesn't strike me as like a major villain or a major threat that we would likely see in next, like one that would survive through to season 5. I really cannot see that happening. So I think she's an okay villain, but I don't expect her to last too long, and I expect her to be more of kind of maybe not a filler villain, but something like that's kind of in and around there, creating mischief before the end of the season, and then we see some other kind of concentration come in near the end of the season. So aside from kind of the new villain kind of more coming in here, and a couple of the groups kind of starting to come together now. So we have our back quarter left, and we have basically Morgan, and then we have the group that he was with, which is Sara, Jim, and Wendell, who they're in the middle here. They're kind of allies, but they're sort of like loose allies, right? I wouldn't say that they're as trustworthy, obviously, as somebody like the others, like June and Al, who, even though Al does kind of lie sometimes, as she does in this episode here, they don't feel like they're one of the gang yet. They don't feel like they're part of the group yet. So we'll see in the future if they kind of can blend in better, or who knows, maybe they get killed off by the crazy lady by the end of the season or something like that. I would not be surprised if we saw something like that. Al likes new people, so that's fun, and she gets to meet the others there near the end of the episode, and we had the part with June in the radio with Quinn, who found some diesel and got the SWAT vehicle up and running again, only to be taken out, trapped, and then taken out by the crazy villain lady whose name maybe they said her name at some point. I don't remember. If you know her name, write it in the comments below. That way I can get it for next week for the next review. So all that stuff was pretty good. I felt like in terms of the characters, this week's episode was really maybe a character focus for June was there as well too. Of course, she was a concentration, but mostly for Al, because in this episode, Al changes quite a bit. Of course, she gets sick in this one, so she needs some help from June, who was a nurse, who was very useful for her to kind of have those skills in the zombie apocalypse and be able to help others and be able to treat others if they get sick, because obviously, surviving on through is something that probably will happen a lot. So we saw it in the original Walking Dead at the prison, if you guys remember that, where there was kind of that big outbreak there. And so she's useful to have around, but we see concentration here, I want to say, on Al, which is where Al kind of explains to June how important the tapes are to her and how important her videos are to her, because it's all she has left of those people that she cared about. And of course for the others as well too. She's got a tape there of Madison, and for June in this one, she had a tape there of John. So, they are very useful, what she was able to kind of create, and it is kind of, even though the battery's dead at this point, they kind of are a way for her to still have those people around in her life, or have the story of the people that she met along the way. If she wants to spend time with them, she can at least watch the videos, even though they're not there, because at this point in the zombie apocalypse, like over 99% of the population is dead. So there's just a few sparse survivors here and there, as we're kind of getting to see. There are some, but, of course, a lot of people have been lost at this point. So having the tapes are extremely important to her, but she decides to kind of give up, I want to say, when she shoots off the gun, when June is driving away, she decides to give up the past, for the possibility of a future in this one, leaving the tapes behind, leaving the vehicle behind, in order to explore a new path and go with June here to meet Morgan and see what will come as a result of that. But I do think eventually she'll probably get her tapes back. I'm sure she's going to want to eventually if given the opportunity. But at the same time, if it comes down between the past and the future, I'm happy to see in this one that she decides that, okay, it's better that they try to find a group and try to get together all again versus just having her keep her tapes and the people that she knew along the way in the past, and forsaking this new group that she could possibly become a part of or help form. It's better that she goes with that than keeps getting kind of stuck in the past and staying with those tapes that she has. So I liked all of that. I really liked the episode for Al. I liked the episode for June. I thought it was good there for all the things they gave her to do. Of course, Morgan's in this episode too. One part which is kind of I don't know if it's an intentional Easter egg, maybe not, but it's just kind of funny when you see him climb up the tower there, right? It reminds you kind of if you've read the Walking Dead comic book series. There's a part in the Whisperer War where there's like a water tower involved, a similar type of situation, but it's Father Gabriel who climbs up the tower, and then the rest will be spoilers, so we won't get into it. But if you've read the comic book series, you kind of know what I'm talking about for The Walking Dead. And it's just a high spot, I guess, for Morgan to try to see if he can get in touch with any of the others, and he's able to kind of get them, so at least he's got some of them. And I would think that their next goal would be to try to find the others, which I think eventually they will in the next few episodes, and then probably have some kind of confrontation or face off with the crazy lady that's in and around there right now that has the vehicle. One thing is she does have the SWAT car, so with the miniguns that Al put in there, she is maybe a bit more dangerous than she was prior, just on foot by herself with one zombie on a leash, basically one pet on a leash, kind of the opposite of Michonne. I want to say maybe like a villain. She doesn't really look like Michonne. Her age is quite a bit different, but kind of like an opposite version where instead of her being a good guy and going around with some zombies on a leash to kind of camouflage and protect herself, this one's is the exact opposite, where you have her going around and she has a zombie on a leash, but she's driving it towards people, and she's a villain, right? So kind of the opposite in that way. So yeah, so it's not bad. All around the episode was okay. Let's see, they were out of water for a bit there. They were in the van, kind of waiting. You had some time lapses go through here. You had the confrontation between Quinn and June, which I thought was okay. And then you had the part with Al lying about her kind of getting there and then not being able to find the drugs because they weren't there, but she was able to find some nearby in the bus or whatever. Afterwards, and we have not much stuff with Morgan here, just kind of coming at the end with them all kind of meeting together. And as far as our newer characters go, not much with them drinking beer and just waiting, basically, is what they did. So I thought it was an okay episode. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I did feel like it was, I don't want to say filler, just a filler episode, because you did have some progression here where you had kind of two of the groups kind of come together, and you did have a little bit of kind of the introduction with the new villain, with that random new guy being killed as a result of her and what she's doing. And I thought it was good for Al, good for June, and not too much for Morgan and the others. So it was an okay episode for me. Of course, they have to build the new characters that they brought in this season. It just felt kind of strange, this episode, because this was another episode where I guess Strand, Coleman was directing the episode, but as far as your original core cast of Fear, none of them were involved in it, right? So, but at least Morgan was there, and I think I'm almost at this point accepting Al and June as 100% Fear characters here, and I hope Al will survive on further, because I do like Al as a character. June is she's okay. We'll see if she survives out the season and they're able to get her to come back for another year in season 5. So that's it for my review for this week's episode. I'll be back for my predictions video in about half an hour with you guys for episode 13 and what we think is going to happen. Let me know how you felt about this episode. Leave your comments below. Were you like me? Were you like, it's okay, it's all right, but nothing amazing? That's kind of how I was feeling about it. I just thought it was pretty good, but nothing spectacular, and I'm a little impressed by the new lady villain, but not that much. I know she says she's not weak and she's crafty and everything, but she's not the type of villain that's going to terrify you or overpower you or do something like that. She's the kind of villain that's going to trick you and it's going to trap you and do things like that, and that's okay, but it's not really something to fear, I don't think, in the same way as some of the villains we've had prior were. So those are kind of my thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. And if you like this review, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can also share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, bottom left to subscribe. And I'll see you guys back again soon. Leave the comments for Q&As for this week. For Fear, we'll do at least one Q&A for Fear this week. And, as well for the predictions coming up in about half an hour. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again soon for another. As always, it's Trev. And I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.